team, Russian news agency. You're probably the most familiar with Russian football in your team because you worked with Leonid Slutsky last year. What do you recall from this coach? Maybe you talk about Russian World Cup.
Yeah, I had a really good relationship with the manager. He was, of course, the one that brought me to Hull City, and he saw me play at the Confederations Cup in last season in Moscow against Chile, and I think that was part of the reason he wanted to sign me. And I was sad to see him go actually because we were very close to getting it right underneath him, and he was a good manager, and hopefully get a chance to catch up with him while we're here.
Steph.
Jackson, you're a 10-year-old kid watching on at ANZ Stadium in the 05 qualifiers. Can you reflect on what it's like for you to now be in the position of being at your first World Cup and facing a presser ahead of a game against France?
Yeah, it's kind of hard to put into words. As you said, I was 12 years old in 05 at the qualifier against Uruguay, and I was fortunate enough to be in Kaiserslautern as well. And I was at the game against Japan when Timmy scored 2 goals, and in Munich as well against Brazil. And I grew up a Socceroos fan, and going to all the games and being a part of those experiences. And now the idea that you could potentially be on the other side of the fence and be out there playing, it's hard to kind of put into words. It's like it is the dream come true, and it culminates in all the sacrifice and hard work that you've had over the years. And it's just going to be amazing.
Dave.
Jackson, you've come on recent games and been very influential, and you have. Do you think you bring something a little bit different, especially in that sort of final third, late in games? Or?
Yeah, I think we're fortunate in our squad to have a number of players that have different qualities in the attacking third and all over the pitch that we can use our own individual strengths. And myself maybe there is parts of my game that I have that are different to other players, and maybe my energy and running in behind and offers something different. So you have to use your own individual qualities to try and persuade the manager to get you out there on the pitch and that you can affect the game.
Yep. So, David?
Jackson, further to that, do you think that type of energy and industry is going to be exactly what Australia needs against France?
I think it's, the manager will see the game panning out and he'll prepare the team for the best case in that way. And as you say, whether it's from the start or off the bench or, even just in the dressing room, you have to try and influence the game whatever way you can. And, I'll be ready and prepared, if called upon, as you say, at whatever stage of the game or whatever stage of the group, depending across the 3 games.
Sure.
Jackson, sorry.
No.
Jackson, your grandfather's Dutch and helped get you into football as a kid. Is he happy to see Bert in charge? Did you know any Dutch when you were young? Any obviously with all the staff and anything like that? Yeah, well, again, my very close connection to the Dutch side of my family through my grandfather, and I think he was pleased to see a Dutch coach come in, and in particular someone like Mark, who was such a legend as a player as well, and he's always had that half debate of who to support, Holland or Australia, but fortunately that's an easy enough decision for him this time. So it's great to have that side of your family, and he was the one that influenced me and got me and really pushed me to get into football from a young age. So it's exciting. It's actually his birthday today as well. So happy 80th, Helper, if you're watching.
Garby.
Jackson, there's been a bit said about Bert trying to turn Australia into Atletico Australia, to follow the model of Atletico Madrid. Can you give us some insight into what he's sort of said to the players to follow that path? Yeah, well, anyone who's watched Atletico off the last few years, you can see how structured and disciplined they are in their shape, and it doesn't really change against whatever opposition they're playing against. That's the way it's ingrained in them to be able to press and be organised in that way. And I think that's the main thing he's tried to get into us as a squad, is that if you get it right, then it means you don't have to adapt to the opposition. You can do it against any structure or any shape, and it's all about distances and communication and making sure you close lines. And they're one of the best in the world at it. So it's obviously tough to get right, but we think we've got a very close structure in place that's going to be capable of getting results in this tournament.
Jackson, I'm interested in the manager's philosophy and the culture he's trying to instill within the group. Yesterday at training, we saw a very jovial but a very competitive game that you played, and the players you celebrating when you won the game. And Is it about instilling that winning mentality, no matter what drill you're doing at training, and with a view to bringing that to game day?
Yeah, I think we've seen that over the last few games as well, and in particular the Hungary game. In a game where maybe the football wasn't of our highest quality, that winning mentality showed through at the end, and in particular when you lose a late goal, to even then bounce back to try and grab a late winner. It does show a winning mentality, and that is something at training. We like doing our young v old games, and it does get quite competitive. But maybe it's that competitive edge that can be the difference at this level.
Bash.
Jackson, just changing tact, I understand all the players have got their own personal mattresses here. Is that true? And what sort of impact has that made? Is it as far as recovery?
Oh, well, sleep's important, and all of these. Well, do we have not personalised mattresses or anything, but they're just you had a preference of hard mattress or soft mattress. It was something as simple as that. So it's just any little edge you can get to that's going to help the players. Obviously get the best preparations that they can.
Jackson,
sorry, Don. Clem, then Don. Clem?
Jackson, I remember before the Brazil game in Melbourne last year, you said, it was time to get rid of that little Australia mentality. And I think at yesterday's press conference with France, I think one question was asked about Australia. I mean, get the fire in the belly burning a bit for this game to, get a result over them?
I think we've got that competitive edge either way, and we definitely have that mentality now. I think we saw it last year at the Confederations Cup after the Brazil game, where coming up against top nations, we showed no fear and can come out fighting against the best teams, and we're going to have to show that again on Saturday. And all these things that happen with other teams, other press conferences, we don't really pay much attention to that. We're focused on ourselves, and as I said, we're planning to play in a way where the opposition, it's not going to matter the way they play and the way they approach it, because we're going to have our structures, and it's more important about what we do here.
Last three. Dom?
Jackson, just on that competitive nature in training, you guys had a penalty shootout at the end of the session yesterday. What's sort of the thinking of that, and how much emphasis is Bert actually placing on the competitive nature within your own sessions?
Yeah, I think it doesn't even need to be emphasized so much. He just kind of demands it of the group in a way. You want to win, and it doesn't even need to be demanded even from a lot of us, because we are naturally extremely competitive even at training, and that's a good quality to have. And it does, as you say, it leads to a lot of fire in the belly even at training, but it's great to see. And we're all capable of having those arguments and those little moments within the squad, and then pushing it aside as soon as we're off the pitch. So it's great to have that kind of nature amongst the group.
Nick?
Hi, Jackson. Just can I ask you about your opinion about the video assistant referee, the VAR? It's going to be used for the World Cup for the first time. Is it something you guys talk about? Do you maybe, I don't know what your experience is of it, but do you talk to the A-League guys about their experiences, good and bad, with it?
I'm not very familiar with it. I think I used it in one FA Cup game this season, and it wasn't required during the game. And I think obviously the Confederations Cup last year, I don't think it was required really in any of our games there either. So it's a new system, and as you say, it's a lot of boys will have more experience, particularly the boys that have played in the A-League. But it's here to stay, and it's one of those things that we have little control over. So you just have to kind of push it to the back of your mind and understand that it's there to help the referees with the big decisions, and hopefully make sure that those moments are all caught clear and decisive, and there's no issues.
Gabi?
Just another one away from the football, Jackson. We understand the players were allowed a rare outing out last night for dinner outside of the complex. What was that like? Does it have an impact in sort of getting you away from the base?
Yeah, a little change of scenery. Gets you out of, as you say, the kind of complex environment where we've obviously been for a few weeks now, and just a different atmosphere and a different feeling in the room. And it was nice to get out for a couple hours and just have a change of scenery, I suppose. And so it can be quite refreshing mentally for the boys, and hopefully that'll have everyone raring to go for training today. No, it was just it was standard chicken and veg. I don't think they'll get us too far away from that for the next few days.
Okay, sorry, James and
Jackson. Just on, Kazan's probably not known as the most metropolitan place in the world. won't harp on about the mattresses, but what are the sort of things you bring in to a training camp to make it more like home?
For ourselves personally, we're pretty lucky that we're so well looked after. We don't have to bring too much with us. Most of the staff are amazing. They provide us with most of everything. But there's been some really nice touches involved in the complex. I think all the players have photos of their family above their beds and everything that make it feel a bit more homely and give you that reminder of what you're playing for. So little things like that can be a nice touch. And as you say, it makes it feel more homely and yeah, again, gives you a little bit more motivation as well.
Last question.
Jackson, quite a few of the other members of the squad had a very close-cropped haircut before the squad camp. How far would Australia have to get for you to join them with that close crop?
It came up last night, actually. Trent Sainsbury's tried to convince me if I score, then he gets to shave my head after after the game. So I haven't quite agreed to that bet yet, but it's become part of my trademark, and I don't know if I've become quite emotionally attached to it, so I can't see it going anywhere anytime soon.
Excellent. Thanks, Jackson. Thanks, ladies and gentlemen.